Hello and welcome back everybody. Today I'm going to be going back to basics. That's what I need to do. I need to start concentrating on the things that are more important. So, the most important thing is thinning paint properly. Not rushing through it or anything like that, making sure that the wet palette is doing the work for me, and then having really good brush hygiene. Now this pot of water here is a bit stained at the bottom. I haven't fully cleaned it out, but I don't tend to hit the sides or the bottom or anything when I clean my brush, so it's not really a problem. It's clean water in there, and I've got a nice, fresh, clean, prepared wet palette. So now I need to decide what I'm actually painting today and what colour, because obviously I love my my beautiful little boy here, but yeah, he needs a little bit of TLC at the minute because I rushed to put on some varnish onto him, and I've put it on very thick, and it's been 2-3 days now and it's still gloopy, so that needs sorting. And I believe these have seized in now as well. Yeah, a little bit. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, so all these need sanding, treating, whatever, but I've done all the metals on him. I've hit every single little rivet. I hope the camera's picking this up. As you can see, all down here and whatnot. Now the spikies, I think I'm going to do them either red or black, depending. We need a little bit more work on the engine, maybe some reds or something on those, and it's going to be very 90s inspired, I think. But there it is. The jaw piece here, this needs additional work, but I've done all the little spikies in gold. He's got a gold tooth, but that needs a bit more work on it as well. And I'm thinking of putting black flames up there, maybe. And where's the mask? I believe I have finished it now, and this is what it looks like. I decided to make it very me and just slap a load of 13s on it, and it's got gold bits on the top. It's got a nice white cross in the eye, which is just something I like to do. I don't really like to do the whole fade-in thing, but yeah, and then a nice little wash on the metals, and I hope the camera can pick it up, a little bit of a sheen on that second lens there. So I think it looks rather good. I'm pretty proud of that. So he's ready, he's done. Obviously there is the flamethrower from previous episode that we saw. He's done. Good. So yeah, I think probably better off starting with red. Yeah, because the metals are done. This white needs redoing. I still can't find a good white paint. I really can't. So as for reds, we've got tank at the back, and maybe something on this gauge. I might do the needle on it red, and we've got the lens on the underside, and maybe the spikes as well. Go very 90s. Do red horns as well. Red spikes. Yeah, red spikes on these. Red spikes on these. Red needle, red tank. And then black wiring afterwards. Yeah. Okay. So that's what we'll do. So first thing we want to be doing is getting our colour of choice. I like Mephiston red. And I'm going to use my mixer thing, like so, and it's connected to the table that the camera's on, so a little bit wibbly wobbly. But there we go, like that. So, knocking on the microphone. It's a little bit weird doing everything in this format, but it's fine. So we're going to get a decent crappy brush. I think it's still got a little bit of life left in this one. Yeah, just a little bit. So we get that. And we want some tissue. Now, a good little tip for you all is, like, if you have takeaway food or you get coffee or something like that, or a hot drink or wherever you go, ask for napkins because they work very well. Good for preparing your wet palette if you've got overflow on water and everything. And yeah, very, very good. So what we want to be doing is when we thin our paints now, we want to keep pulling it out and using the wet palette itself to hydrate it. And people say to look for like a consistency of milk. And what I like to do is I like to pull it and twist the brush a little bit as I do it, so it goes nicely into the bristles, but it's not a big thick clump. Now I think that, as it is a little bit too thin, so we pull a little bit more paint in there, give that a mix, try that again, and there we go. And because I've mixed it pretty well, it shouldn't have any issues, but we just touch the tip onto there like that, and we will start with these horns because we can see them. Knocking the microphone again, and it's just like that. Oh wow, that actually applies really, really well, and it is difficult for me to paint like this, so I'm hoping not to make too much of a mess because I'm trying to hold it in front of the camera for you all, but with my twitchy nature, I'll no doubt make a mistake. But yeah, this horn here is the one from me dropping him on the floor. So he is a little bit shorter than the other. And the other one was malformed on the tip. So yeah, he's a little bit wonky, just like me. But also my son knocked him off of my spraying desk. So yeah, I'm surprised he's even in one bit. I must have made him very tough because this was bent and all of these were bent. And I think it was, yeah, this one here, as you can see, was bent. Sadly, accidents happen, but hey ho, everything can be fixed. Just needs to take a little bit of time whilst doing so. And just like this. There we go, a little bit there. And we're done. Yeah, simple as that. So the next thing that we need to be more cautious of is, obviously, I've just painted that. I've spent a period of time doing that, and that top section that I've painted has started to dry. Therefore, the paint on the brush has started to dry also. So brush hygiene is super important. And I mustn't forget it, because obviously you get to that point, you think, oh yeah, it's coming together. Wow, wow, wow. Get to do the stuff. But no, you need to look after your brush, which I haven't done with this one, because as you can see all the way up there, there is little remnants of paint that are stuck in it, and that's due to me rushing to try and get this guy ready for the combat patrol game that I had. So I'm going to go ahead now and blast through all these red bits, and I'll bring you back when I've done that. Right, I think that's all the red's done, and honestly, it's been pretty easy to do because I've took my time and thinned the paints, and I've chose to put little red dots on the ends of these things, done the tank red, done all the spikies red, including the joint spike here. Then I did all of that gauge red because I'm going to put a white needle on it and then metals around it. And what else? the lens, but I need to go back over that because I made a boo-boo, and the shoulder, which honestly don't look too bad, and the horns. Yeah, that's that. Next we need probably to do the metals, finish off, because I want bronze here. Then there's this piece of the scenery, there's the ends of the wires that need doing, and that gauge, probably a couple of the pipes, not all of them, maybe the joins on the pipes and the connectors in copper, and then it'll be blacks and we'll be just about done. So I continue on for the rest of the day. I do all the reds, I do all the blacks, I do all the metals, and I start to give it a nice bit of a wash. I also put some purple down on the base to kind of make it look a little bit like tarmac again, and this, that and the other. And then I start getting a little bit fancy and I do a 3-colour highlight on the reds. So I did it on the barrel on the back and on the little spikes as well on the thighs, and then on the shoulder as well. Next, it was time to get brave and make it a real Bad Moons Dreadnought. I decided to freehand some flames. Yeah. Now, I know it's one of those, like, a poor craftsman, like, blames the tools and stuff, but yeah, the nib on this synthetic brush was non-existent. So, not the smartest of my works, sadly, but still, I think it looks half decent. I think it is probably about time I actually go and buy a real detail brush instead of using these synthetics. So day 3 rolls around and I start work on the arms. I start putting all the metals, the reds, and highlighting a little bit and working on one of the claws. And it really is taking shape now that I've started putting flames and things on, and the red accents really do pop. And by the time day 4 rolled around, even with me looking after my brush, trying to be mindful of brush hygiene, thinning my paints correctly, holding the brush and doing pulling strokes and no stippling at all, the brush finally died. And I took the plunge and decided to buy a Citadel paintbrush. And honestly, it's pretty good. I must admit, it is pretty good, but obviously I haven't got a great deal to compare it with just yet. With a little bit more tickling here and there, he was done. Well, this week has been very, very interesting. I think being mindful of brush hygiene and thinning my paints correctly and just general paintbrush handling has been quite a challenge, because we all get to that point where we're trying to get the bristles into a particular area that we can't quite get to, and we've got to do a funny angle and it damages the brush and things like that. I was doing none of that and being extra mindful, extra careful, and hopefully in the future this will stick. But yeah, it has made things an awful lot more difficult. I've had to change the way I sit because I tended to slouch far too much, which was not good. So obviously elevating my chair a little bit more, raising my adjustable desk a little bit more, planting my elbows on the desk and having my wrists together in order to paint, that seemed to help immensely. I stopped with having sort of fatigue on my shoulders and spine, which is good, obviously, because those are my problem areas health-wise anyway. So moving forward, I am going to try and keep this all in mind, because obviously it's going to look after my body. I'm going to get better results from painting, and yeah, I'm just excited to see where this leads, honestly. So I hope you guys will actually take the challenge of doing the hobby homework this week. It'd be wonderful to hear if you can all sit with good posture, mix your paints correctly and be mindful of your brush hygiene and brush handling. So no stippling at all, and see how much you can complete whilst doing that. But anyway, yeah, it's up to you whether or not you want to take the challenge of hobby homework. But don't forget to take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.